Hey everybody, how y'all doing? This is day one after the conference. Yes, for the past 2 days I was in conference, my fifth overall conference, Change Mastery, Training to Triumph. And today I got a really simple one for you. But before I really jump all in, hey Laverne, thanks for checking this out. Before I jump all in, I want to acknowledge a couple of people that were really instrumental in the entire process, actually. The Change Mastery Training to Triumph Conference went off without a hitch. And I definitely have to thank Sharon Parker, my right hand. I got to thank Reba Burris Barnes, my publicist, all of the presenters, their guests, and simply you for just, being engaging and for being engaged as you participated in the conference. Everyone did a fantastic job. We had a great time, a lot of good information, a lot of good fun, a lot of good food, even though I wasn't able to participate in a lot of the food. But today I got a really quick training for you, and you don't even need a notebook. All you need is a sheet of paper. But the conference was definitely nice. If you weren't there, you need to be at the next one. I can assure you that you will not be disappointed, and there will be tons of takeaways. We did have a representation from Texas, North Carolina, DC, New York, Maryland, Virginia, Florida, and people just enjoyed it, topics: personal development, professional development, coaching, publishing, you name it, for the most part, podcasting. We really went in and we made it fun and we made it enjoyable. So now I want to talk to you a little bit about today's broadcast. What's up, Mike? Hey, what's going on, Haki? How you doing, brother? Today's broadcast is really about, excuse me, it's about you. What's it like being you? Literally, what's it like being you? And some may think that that's a loaded question, and somewhat it is, but not really, because if anybody knows you, you should know you, right? But there's a kind of a common thread and a common problem about us being who we are and being how we are. So, everything I talk about, you hear me talk about radiate the brain and change the game. Well, it's not just a clever saying. Radiate the brain and change the game, right? You may have seen it. Well, these books, Align by Design and Radiate the Brain and Change the Game, are really about several things combined into one. It's about mindset, it's about leadership, and it's really supportive of healthy self-esteem. And it attacks those three particular issues, or those three pillars. I call them the three pillars of success for a specific reason, because they're to build you up. So many people get caught up in that, one-sided traditional way of thinking, that they don't get a chance to really see themselves for who they really are. And then sometimes when they finally see who they are, they've wasted money, they've wasted time, they've ruined the relationship, they've gone through all these iterations that really could have been avoided had they really take time to slow down, quiet themselves, and search themselves. So today, I want to talk to you about just that. What's it like being you? So again, the Cure series and Radiate the Brain and Change the Game is what really started me on this journey. And it's been a great journey because, a lot of people know the phrase, but I think I'm starting to scratch the surface of getting people to look inside, introspective. There's a lot of actions and activity going on outside, but you have to learn how to look inside. Inside is where you're going to find the answers. And by all means, if you have any comments, if you have any questions, I want you to post them, because I would love the opportunity to either answer your questions or start that conversation with you. There's a lot of information about this, and of course I can't go but so deep on this, but I want to give you something you can take away. If you can take away one or two things, that's great. If it's more than that, it's gravy. So one of the first things I want to ask you Are you kind? You know, they say nice guys finish last, right? You've heard that phrase. It's an old phrase. But are you kind? Are you a genuinely kind person? Write that down because I want you to ask yourself that. You see, I can't hear you right now unless you put something in the feed. Are you kind? Now, if I should have said this from the beginning, but if you have a piece of paper, 8.5 by 11, preferably, write on one side of the page, are you kind? On the other side, are you not kind? And then answer it, yes or no. Or identify with the side that you are most akin to. You see, because if you are a kind person, a lot of times I understand people may try to take kindness for weakness. And you may say, I'm not going to let anybody know that I'm a nice person because people try to play me. People try to get over. They want to take advantage. I get it. But it's not that. The question is, are you kind? And the reason I'm asking you that is because the genuine you has to surface, has to be able to have an opportunity to be seen, to be known, to flourish. Now, are you not kind? That person also needs to be seen for who they are. And I understand there could be a gazillion reasons for why a person may not be kind. They may have had a rough beginning. They may have always had a bump in the road. They may feel like they never get any breaks. I get it. It may be their own fault. I get that too. But answer the question honestly. You see, when I talk about things like are you kind and things that relate to mindset, in this book, Aligned by Design, and I talk about it a lot, you have something called critical in-depth analysis. And basically, all these trainings, there's going to be a series of trainings that are going to come directly from either this book or this book. These books are made with exercises, insights, tips, and hints. And the point about being kind or not, it's really about, it's going to determine what you get out of life. Not only just generally, I'm talking about the relationships in life, work life, personal life, social life, recreational life. You know, if you're off work or you're not conducting business and you want to go have a social good time, or you want to have fun doing something, grabbing a movie or going to Dave and Buster's, how do you clash with people, or how do you get along with people? Why do you clash with people? Why do you get along with people? You see, we're living in really sensitive and highly sensational times. Almost everything is a soundbite. Almost everything is like, newsworthy, right? Even though it's garbage and you know it and I know it. But the media are sucking it up and they're trying to reel us in and suck us in with every morsel that they can capitalize on. They'll flip it, they'll twist it, they'll spin it, and they'll throw it right at us over and over again until we are inundated with what they want us to see, what they want us to feel, and with what they want us to walk away with. And honestly, you may not realize it. That affects your spirit. That's why I don't watch a lot of news. So going back to the beginning of this question, what kind of person are you? What's it like to be you? See, if you're a kind person, you may see that you get a lot of breaks. People tend to be friendly towards you. You may see that people want to be around you. That's a good thing. If you're not, you may see that you're always seemingly warding off people, or that you're always constantly trying to make friends, but you may not be very successful. So my question is this one thing. Are you willing? Somebody tell me what I'm saying. Are you willing what? What's the rest of that phrase? Are you willing? Hey, Sabrina, thank you. Thank you. Sabrina said it's so true, no doubt. Are you willing what? Finish that question. Finish that phrase. Are you willing what? Yes, it is true. That is true. Yes, indeed. Yeah, Mike, to be great, but sometimes challenging. Yeah, it can be challenging. That's a good response. It absolutely can be challenging. But are you willing? Are you willing to change? Now check it out. If you're not a kind person, or you're usually overly cautious, you don't let people in. I am not suggesting that you should let people in on a whim or just because you're out and everything is la-di-da-di. That is not what I'm saying. But if you know deep in your heart, and you don't have to tell me, you don't have to write it in the feed, but if you know deep in your heart that you are not a kind person, now take this for what it's worth. In some cases, it may go deeper and you may have to, consider professional help. I get that. But if in general, you know that you're not a kind person and it's because you felt like you never would fit in. You felt like no one ever truly accepted you. You felt like no one truly understood you. Ask yourself this question. What part do I play in that? If it's a trust issue, that's realistic. Okay. If it's because you always had interest that no one else had, that's also realistic. I don't think you necessarily need any help or professional help because of that, because there are a lot of us that just have different interests and we don't gel with people. But the truth of the matter is, you need to ask yourself, or I should say it like this, you need to ask yourself, am I willing to change in order to get different results? And if you are willing to change, how you do that is really simple. You have to be honest with yourself. Look at yourself square in the eyes. Look at yourself right in the eyes and ask yourself, am I willing to change? What am I willing to do? Are you trying to give people a break, a chance to get to know you? Are you overly obnoxious? Are you hard on people? Do you make assumptions? See, those things sometimes create barriers, and you have to sometimes break down barriers. There's a phrase that says, half of the world is waiting for the other half to say hello. That's a fact. Now, if you are not having a problem and you're a kind person, you may not really need to do a lot of changing, but you just may need to fortify your position as a person so that you can get ahead. Now, I'm talking professionally and personally. In your personal life, we all want the same things. We want somebody we can talk to. We want somebody that we can understand. We want someone that we can share intimate moments with, physical intimate moments, and generally intimate moments. We want those things because that's how human beings thrive and that's how we live well. Why do you think when people in jail, when they go to isolation, they lose their mind? There's no physical touch. There's no one to talk to. They're isolated and they lose it in a lot of cases. Or when they finally do come home, they're not the same. You may even know someone that has experienced that. So we all want the same thing. So you have to be willing to make the necessary shifts or modifications as it relates to your life, as it relates to your relationships, or if you want to acquire relationships. That's personally. Professionally, if you're not going to be willing to change, whether you're a kind person or not, you cannot necessarily expect to have a fruitful business relationship with people. Because in business, most of the time, maybe all of the time, it's about developing relationships. So again, ask yourself, are you a kind person? Write it down. Are you a kind person? Are you not a kind person? Why? You don't have to answer me. Answer yourself. The next thing you want to write down, are you willing to change? Answer yourself honestly. All right, so let's move on. Hey, Kim Young, what's up? Peyton, good to see you. Good to see you. Good to see you. Hey, Jerry, what's going on? Good to see you too, Jill. Now, the next question. I got to put my glasses on because they kept slipping. Let me see if I can read this. Because this is really, life is simple and easy, yet it's complex. But at the same time, we have to realize that we are the biggest component in our own lives. We are the biggest catalyst in our lives, one way or the other. Either we're going to support ourselves or we're not. And I say it a lot. Most people do not participate in their own rescue. I say that in my presentations, in my keynotes, and it's real. Most people do not participate in their own rescue. Meaning if you want to change something, You want it to change without you making any effort. It doesn't work like that. It won't work like that. Now, if God wants to bless you and bam, hit you up like that, that's great. But 9 times out of 10, for most of us, it will not work like that. The awareness may come upon you, but you still have to take the action. You can't say, oh, I understand now, and not do something. You have to say, oh, okay, I get it, and begin the process of step by step trying to create the change, which is a shift in your universe to get the results you want. All right, so here's the second question. You ever hear the phrase somebody say, I ain't changing for nobody. I don't care. I'm me. You got to accept me for who I am. Accept me the way I am. You got the head movement, right? The attitude, right? The gyrations and all that. Really? Kim Young says, hey, I'm kind of not nice. Okay. Well, I'm going to let you do what you got to do with that. All right? Because Kim Young is a coach, a vocalist, so she's usually in front of people, but it's up to her to make the shift if she really feels that way. And it's up to her to guide people accordingly. You know, I know we had, and one of the questions at the conference was, if you're a coach and you're being coached, when do you know it's okay to coach? And the truth of the matter, and this is just my opinion, everyone is accountable to someone. You can be a coach or a doctor or a pharmacist or whatever profession and still administer that service to other people while you yourself are being serviced in a similar manner. It's called being accountable to someone stronger, greater, bigger, wiser than you. Someone that can pour into you when you're exhausted, when you're empty. And there's nothing wrong with that. But I know in certain communities, in the African American community, sometimes that's not a comfort area. And we kind of like resist even moving in that direction. But you hear that? Okay, come on. Okay. All right, so let me move to the second statement or the second question. You hear, I ain't changing for nobody. Well, what would you do? And write this down too. I ain't changing for nobody. That's the second question. What would you do if you meet the love of your life? Now, you already know whether you're kind or unkind. As a rule, you know you. But if you meet the love of your life, now, if you're kind, it may go to say, or you may figure that it's obviously very nice that things will unfold well for you. You can't always project that because you do have to get to know the other person. That's probably an easier scenario, the kind, naturally being a kind person. But what if you're a little bit stagnant or an unkind person and you happen to meet the love of your life and you're used to being the way you've been for the past 20, 30, 40 years? See, that's going to give you something to think about. You've been the same way ever since grade school. Willing to change, Sabrina says. If you've been the same way ever since grade school, again, you can say the words, and I do believe it's possible, but it's highly unlikely that you will change as quickly as you would like to. The truth of the matter, if this is the love of your life that you're just meeting, then you have some serious work to do on you if you're that person that's at a crossroads, that's stagnant, or a person that's unkind, and you know this to be true of yourself. Now, a broken clock is right twice a day, at least. So even if you're unkind, it's not to say you won't have any good moments, but trust me, that unkind state and that stagnant state will not last always. Like I said, twice a day, a broken clock is right, but not always. So that means you're going to have to do some things. You have to shift some things. In some cases, you may need a coach. In some cases, you may need a therapist. That's a fact. But if it's on the spot, you have to really come to terms with who you are. That's why I say to you, what's it like being you? Because I can tell you about me. I'm a hard rock. I'm a tough person to get along with. What does that mean? Charles, you don't seem to be that way. Well, trust me, as I've gotten older in life and had different experiences, relationship experiences, professional experiences, work experiences, racial experiences and exposures, I've developed an opinion like most of us have. Now, even the spiritual experiences will teach you something if you hold on to it and if you allow it. So, for me personally, I know I've always been an introvert until several years ago, maybe 20 some odd years ago, maybe a little longer, honestly, because as a musician and vocalist and the lead and the band and the front man, you can't really exhibit introvert tendencies, or you're not likely to remain that way. But at the same time, I understood why Michael Jackson said when he was on the stage, he was like the boldest of the bold. But when he wasn't on stage, he was really more reserved, more laid back. I get that. So you have to say to yourself, okay, all right, Sabrina. You have to say to yourself, if you're the kind of person that says, I'm not changing for anybody, then you have to say to yourself, this is the love of my life. Is it worth it that I have someone to share my quality time with? Is it worth it that I have someone that I could be generally and physically intimate with? Am I going to let this opportunity just blow by? Then you may consider really looking at yourself and making the shift. Of course, initially you're going to try to do it on your own, and that makes sense. But you may get to a point where you have to seek help. Now, what if that same scenario was the same for business? You get the business opportunity of a lifetime, and you're the same person. I ain't changing for nobody. You're going to like me the way I am or forget it. I don't care. I don't care how much money you got. Okay, right. That sounds big, bad, and bold. But if the opportunity comes, and it's a business opportunity, it's the perfect opportunity, the thing you're good at, the thing you like, the thing you want to really thrive in doing, the thing you want to be known for, is that same attitude going to be the attitude that you have? So the question comes up again. Are you willing to change? You see, in my opinion, this world in today's time is in a lot of pain. Men, women, doesn't matter what race, a lot of us are in pain. A lot of us are truly and deeply frustrated in life. A lot of us. And I understand, because I get angry when I see certain things. I get upset when I see other things. Sometimes I'm uncertain, or I maybe even feel hurt. But the fact of the matter is, I have this one life to live and this one life to control. And I have to be on top of my emotions, and I am responsible for my decisions and actions. And the same thing goes for you, my friend. So when that business opportunity crosses your door, your email, your inbox, what are you going to do? And I'm saying this because the way I present when I'm training, keynoting, it doesn't matter. The way I present, I try to eliminate all the excuses. So if you don't like me, you're really not going to like me at the end of the presentation. And if you do like me, I'm going to give you so much to think about. You are going to have some serious decision making, unless you just, turn over and forget about it and walk away. But you can never, ever say that you didn't know about it, you never heard about it, you never considered it, it was never on your radar, because I eliminate excuses. And that goes for myself as well. So I may not have your answers. I may not know you personally, so I can tell you what to do, because I wouldn't tell you anyway. I would suggest, recommend, or advise, possibly, depending on the scenario. But when it's all said and done, you have the power to change your life. I'm always saying it. Radiate the brain and change the game. You can radiate the brain and change the game in your life. And that's what I talk about in these books, how to deal with change, how to actually, become and shift into the person you want to become. And that's what it's all about. I'm already negotiating for 2019 engagements. Why? Because I am spot on, dead on, dedicated, sold out on me to do the things that I do. And I want you to be able to do the same thing for yourself. But you have to know who you are. So you need to know what's it like being you. Bottom line, you need to know what's it like being you. Kim Young says, time and age has definitely influenced my thoughts and beliefs. I agree. Sabrina says she have to watch the replay soon. Okay. Love will shift you. Yeah, love will jack you up. Love will take you and put some judo on you, on your mind, your heart, your body and soul. And when you get up and turn around, you're going to ask yourself a few things. How did I get like this? Love will do the do on you, no doubt. Kim Young says, shift your mindset, your heart, and your spirit. Yes, love of your life. Serena says, smart people should be willing, personally and professionally. And I agree. Sometimes, though, we're too smart for our own good. But, and I know that's a part of life. We make decisions doing what we think is right. But sometimes it's difficult because we're really trying to counsel ourselves. And that's one of the most difficult, one of the toughest things to do. However, if you're really fearless, and if you're really honest, and you're a real truth seeker, and you seek clarity the way I do, you can do it. I know you can. Yeah, Mike, he said, knowledge is power, and for him, certain times he sees he can't, excuse me, he can't. Gaining knowledge helps him to understand and respect things for what they are. And that's the truth. That's what it's about. Gaining the knowledge and understanding so that you can see things for what they are. And that will help you make the better decision. Look, it's not just me. It's different people that are speaking what I speak about. I may be considered a thought leader, but it's because I am truly a deep-seated thinker. I was that kid that sat around and watched people. I thought, I kind of not really meditated, but I studied how the adults were acting. And I grew up in a certain way that part of my life, it stayed with me. So I am right exactly where I'm supposed to be as a man today. And I think most of us have that same ability. We just have to tap into it. Yes. Well, let me check the time because I'm not sure. Oh, no, this is going a little bit too long, too far. I wasn't trying to take advantage of anyone's time. But, I said I would do these trainings in bits and pieces on mindset, on leadership, communication, and self-esteem because I know that, one, people are hurting. Two, they need an outlet. They need an answer and a solution. And three, if I have it, why not provide it? You can obviously pick up any of my books. That's fine. I would love it. I'll put it in the feed. SirCharlesCaryInc.com. These are just two of my books that have the exercises, the insights, the tips, and the hints. But the next video will be coming very soon, and you'll have an opportunity of tapping in on this information. And my publicist, Reba, says, your love of your life is yourself, God and family, loving through all the good, bad, and not so cool, all at once. Wow, that's a mouthful. Pretty powerful, too. Listen, folks, please put your comments or have anything that you like to say or state. Please put it in the feed. I love the opportunity of getting back to you, but this is what I do, and it's from the heart because of who I am. And as I always say, you got to radiate the brain and change the game. I'll see you next time.